This video is about the copper cycle lab. In this lab, we're going to take copper, we're going to do a bunch of reactions to it, and we're going to get copper out at the end. Before we go any further, I want to talk about safety. You need to make sure to have goggles on, tuck in loose or dangling clothes, avoid skin contact with chemicals. If you get chemicals on your skin, wash them off right away and also tell me. I want to talk a little bit about the equipment that's at the lab here. So if you could zoom in. So we have a beaker here that has a bunch of pipettes that have chemicals in them. So that's the first thing. Then we have a test tube rack with two test tubes. You probably only need to use one, but they're both here. You have a stir rod. You have a test tube holder. The way this works is when you squeeze it, it opens, and when you unsqueeze it, it closes. Make sure not to accidentally squeeze it. If you accidentally squeeze it when you're holding it, it'll fall and potentially break. We have a watch glass. We have a funnel inside an Erlenmeyer flask. We have forceps, a piece of filter paper you might need to pick up at a central location, a piece of aluminum foil, a hot water bath. This is like a jacuzzi, more than one group can use it at a time, and a waste speaker. Okay, we're gonna start talking about the lab right now. So the first thing you're going to do during the lab is you're going to take the copper nitrate and you're going to pipette it into the test tube. This is a very small amount, but you're going to have a little more than this. Okay, after you do that, you're going to add the sodium hydroxide to it. So I'm going to grab the sodium hydroxide, which is here, and I'm going to pipette that in. You're going to use the stir rod to stir everything around. You're then going to put your mixture in the hot water bath. Okay, you're going to let that heat until a chemical reaction has completed. When that's nice and hot, you're going to take it out by using your tongs. Make sure to not approach it from a weird direction. Walk around the table if necessary to pick it up nicely. And you're going to bring it down to your test tube rack. You're going to let it settle, and as it settles, you're going to pipette off the supernatant with the waste pipette. What that means is that if there's any liquid at the top, you're going to pipette it. The best way to do this is to squeeze the pipette before inserting in the liquid, and then gently let go and drop the liquid into this, and you can pipette that into your waste beaker. Okay, that's going to have to be repeated a few times. Finally, you can add your hydrochloric acid, add the whole pipette to there. Another reaction will happen, and then you're going to take your aluminum foil and you're going to turn it into essentially a really long, thin wire, almost, of aluminum, and put that down into your test tube like that. Okay, the last step of this lab, so after this reacts, oh, by the way, this may get a little hot, so we're going to use the test tube to put this in the sink and to rinse off the outside with cool water so that it doesn't get too hot. Lower this in the sink a little bit so that it doesn't splash too much. The very last thing you're going to do is you're going to filter the contents. So you're going to take your filter paper, you're going to fold it in half once, and then in half again. It'll make 4 little sheets. Only open one of them. Open one sheet, and it makes a little cone. You can wet that to make sure it stays. Just put a little water in it, and then it'll stay down. And then you can pour the contents of your test tube and also any sort of flakes that are on this into here. Use your water, so I have DW, distilled water, to kind of rinse that off as necessary. You can also use your stir rod or your forceps to do that. The very last step of the lab, after everything is out of your test tube and all of the flakes are off the aluminum foil, is to take the filter paper out, to put it on the watch glass, and to leave it, and the last step is going to be to bring it to the fume hood. Thank you for watching.